This is Doug and Cindy. Help Me Help Mama LiveCast. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're answering caregiver questions, and we appreciate your comments and questions on our comments section on the Facebook page and on our blog and on this YouTube page. So thanks for leaving your comments and questions as to what we're talking about today, but also your input and your tips and words of encouragement for other fellow caregivers. So today we've got a few questions and comments regarding caregiver burnout. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. If you are a family caregiver, and if you're watching this, you probably are. I don't have to explain anything to you about caregiver burnout. You're probably familiar with that. And, different people experience burnout to different degrees depending on where they're at in the caregiver journey. I know some days are worse than others, but sometimes it wears on you to the point that you're just burnt out and you need a break. So we're going to talk about a few of those things today. And so, Cindy, what are some of the signs, some of the things we need to talk about regarding caregiver burnout?
We all want to do the best that we can for our loved one. We want to do all that we can. But we're only human. So when you notice any of these signs that we're going to talk about, it's time for you to raise your hand and ask for help. This may be help from other family members. It may be respite care. Take your loved one to an assisted living, perhaps for a week. You take a long break, sleep straight through for 2 or 3 days. Because if you don't, you won't be able to take care of them as long. So one of the first things that I think you should notice as a sign of caregiver burnout is that, do you fall asleep during conversations?
Now, I've seen that happen. Matter of fact, that's almost happened to me in the past. So, but sometimes you're just exhausted to the point that when you're talking to someone that you just feel like you're just going to drop over any minute. And if that's you, then you may be suffering from caregiver burnout. I spoke to a lady just a couple of days ago that, she had been keeping her husband at home who had Alzheimer's. And you could hear, a lot of times family caregivers do it, especially spouses, or do it much longer than they should. They're they have promised each other that they would stay at home, that they'd take care of each other, that they would not go to a nursing home. And she'd kept her promise for a long time. Her husband is now in final stages of Alzheimer's. And, she'd done it for a long time. And she said something that, well, if I drop over during our conversation today, it's probably because I'd had like 2 hours sleep the night before, and not much the night before that, not much the night before that. Well, if you're already up in years and you're just getting a few hours sleep every night, it takes a toll on you. And
physically and mentally, it takes a toll. So raise your hand and ask for some help. If you're too tired to drive to the grocery store, a frog in my throat, you may be close to caregiver burnout. If you're too tired to walk out to the mailbox to get the mail, you may be close to caregiver burnout. Exhausted. Have you ever felt real exhausted? Like, imagine running competing in a triathlon where you run, you swim, and you bicycle for like 25 miles. Can you imagine? Even the preparation for that would wear me out. But if you can imagine what you would feel like after you competed in this and you did all 3 of those activities, that's exhaustion. And if you feel like that now and you have not competed in a triathlon, you may be close to caregiver burnout. Ask for help. If you catch yourself napping while you're sitting at the table, just kind of fall over asleep, If your sleep patterns change, if you're getting a lot less sleep, or you're wanting to get a lot more sleep, you may be close to caregiver burnout. If another thing to think about is if you've had hobbies or interests that you've enjoyed your whole lifetime, maybe scrapbooking or photographing or any number of things, gardening, and now you don't even want to look at those things. You may be close to caregiver burnout.
You know, also mood and attitude. You know, if you've been taking care of a loved one for a long time, and you know, it starts to wear on you. You're carrying the whole load, and maybe they've got Alzheimer's and they say stuff, and you know, at first the logical, rational part of you says, well, you know, my mom or my dad has Alzheimer's, and that's really not them talking, or they really didn't mean it, or all sorts of things we say to ourselves. And then after a while, you know, the logical part starts wearing off, and when they say stuff, it just like cuts to the bone just immediately. And you snap, or you say stuff, or worse yet, you take it out on them. That's a sign of burnout.
Yeah, and you know it's not them saying those things to you. You know it's the disease that's speaking. If you're starting to forget things, that may be a sign that you need to raise your hand and ask for help. If you're doing what I did, you cry every time you get in the shower. That's a real good sign. So think about these things that we've talked about, and don't be afraid to ask for help. If you get help, you will be doing yourself a favor, and you will be doing your loved one a favor. Thank you for taking care of them.
And, you know, places you can get help, check with your local Alzheimer's Association. Sometimes they have respite grants available. Sometimes they will know people in the community that can provide help, either can hook you up with a home care agency where you could get help on a regular basis, or some just respite care for people to come in just on maybe sometimes just an hour or two a week can help a lot, just to get you out of the house, just to clear your head, you know, just so you can take a walk, or so you can go to the grocery store, so you can do something just to get out of that environment and just be around other people and just breathe and clear yourself, and then come back in, and it's like you've done a reset. So call and get some assistance, and it'll make a big difference. So that's what we had for today. Have anything else for today on this?
Support group meetings is a good place. You get feedback from other individuals, and they also, a lot of them may have had help to come in, so they can give you referrals or advice about that.
And in your support group meetings, a lot of times I know people bring their like Alzheimer's support group, people bring their loved ones with them, like right. Someone that their husband or the wife has Alzheimer's disease, and they bring them with them to the support group meetings, and where they can get out a little bit too. And you know, we've been talking here about caregiver burnout, but also be attuned to the fact that this can work the other way too. The person you're taking care of, your loved ones, burnout. I mean, how are they coping with the situation? Maybe you're the only caregiver and you're doing the best you can, but is that the best situation for them? Yesterday we talked about, you know, in some family situations, maybe just something different, like an assisted living facility, or there's some different type of setting for some people may be better than being at home. I don't know. You know, it's you and your loved one, and I'm just saying these are things you have to be aware of and attuned to and open to see maybe if some other type of situation may be better in a given setting. And sometimes situations evolve to the point where a different type of setting is better. So these are just a lot of things to think about and keep in mind and evaluate that once in a while to see, are we on the right track? Am I doing the right thing by mom or dad? Or maybe we need to look at some other options here. So that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us today on Help Me Help Mama LiveCast. Please leave your comments and questions. And we'll see you again on the next episode. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.